With me, the entrepreneur Richard Tice, who's co-chair of Leave Means Leave, and he's with me now for a view from the American perspective, if you like. Professor Ted Malloch, an expert on business and governance, a man widely expected to be the next US ambassador to the European Union. We shall see, gentlemen. Good to have you both with us. Thank you very much. Can we start on this letter?
Sure.
Not just the content, but the tone. Richard, first of all.
Yeah, I mean, the tone's very constructive, it's very positive, it's very warm, as you would expect, because we're still going to remain Europeans at heart. So that, that's very good news, is what you expect. It's slightly disappointing, some of the responses coming out of the European Union, but in a sense, maybe that's to be expected. They're sort of, positioning themselves. At the end of the day, we need to have a mature, sensible negotiation and work out quite quickly, are we going to reach a deal or not? And if not, the government needs to be absolutely clear, as the Prime Minister said in January, no deal's better than a bad deal. We in business, we all know that. Absolute common sense. In which case, we revert to WTO, which is also fine.
What is the American view on that, Ted?
Well, I think it was a very short, sweet letter. Didn't say anything that surprised any of us. The Yanks are with you, so that's the good news. I think it's a great day for Great Britain. And it is Great Britain, after all. And it's a day to celebrate, triggering something that's long been anticipated. People have been working on this. I was with Sir Bill Cash the other day in Parliament for over 30 years, and it's something that's come to fruition. So we'll see how it works. I think many of us are of the opinion that it could be a constructive outcome, and we're hopeful, but we also know that the Europeans have said we'd like to kick you in the shins, and we're going to be rather punitive. If that's the case, then it will be a clean and sharp Brexit.
Well, they certainly won't say that today, but let's see how the negotiations go. I'm asking you about security now, because this is a very important element. Several times in this letter, the Prime Minister mentions the importance of cooperating on security. Some people have seen that as possibly some kind of threat in terms of, let's get a good outcome. How do you see that, and why do you think that she emphasised that so much?
Well, I think the UK has many assets when it comes to security. It has certainly been a firm supporter of Europe, whether in NATO and other auspices. What happened here the other day is even another indication. I think that one has to look at European security through the lens of a very wide lens. So Britain is rather important, and it shouldn't be discounted when it comes to security.
It was interesting. Lord Heseltine earlier was very forthright on this and said it was extremely unwise to try to couple security issues with an outcome on trade and other things as part of this negotiating process. What do you say?
Well, he would say that, wouldn't he? But, it's just a gentle reminder from the Prime Minister just how much we have to offer, and the fact that actually we will still be partners, European partners. We just won't be part of a Brussels-based protectionist trade bloc. We can still work together, but frankly for the global good in so many areas. And, she quite rightly says we can do a trade deal together or we can go on our own. And there's all sorts of other assets that we have to offer.
Do you think, where's the balance of power here? Because this has been a debate all along, and today we had Monsieur Barnier being very quietly confident, saying, we're ready. The team is ready. Had a picture of his team. They were also standing there looking as if they meant business. But there's a more serious point, isn't there, which is, do they hold most of the cards?
I think at the end of the day, when you go into a negotiation, either side thinks that they may have the upper hand on this or that. I think the thing that the European Union still don't believe, and this is the key difference with David Cameron's negotiation last year, the key difference here is actually the Prime Minister and her government are quite prepared to say, sorry, that deal's not good enough, we're walking away. And I think when that reality hits, and it probably will hit, there'll be some bumps in the road in this negotiation. I think that will be a huge shock to the European Union, and then I suspect there'll be another round of negotiations, and we'll see where it gets.
Ted, there must surely be one element where you would disagree with the Prime Minister, because where she says she wants to see a strong European Union, that's categorically not your view, is it? Because you'd like to see it disappear.
Well, not disappear altogether, perhaps. I mean, the question is what the EU will look like even while you're negotiating with it. There are elections in other European countries. There are changes. Last week we had a strategy paper come out from the EU itself that suggested 5 different scenarios. So I think we're dealing with a moving target in effect, so we don't know which EU it will be. I do think, though, that it is quite possible that Britain holds most of the cards. And that its trade with the continent will be important and will be viewed that way. And if I were doing strategy, which of course I'm not for this side, I'd suggest it invest as much time and as much effort in looking at its global partners in the future as it is investing in these EU negotiations.